Let's talk politics now as we focus on the opposition People's Democratic Party and the coalition on the platform of the ADC, both quoting former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi. We're going to explore what this means for Nigeria's evolving political landscape. Well, who best to speak on this one than Honorable Ikenna Azomchine, popularly known as Obedience General. He's joined the conversation virtually from Belgium this evening. Honorable Azomchine, thank you so much for your patience. Appreciate you very much for joining us on Daily Politics.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
How do you feel, knowing fully well that your principal has once again sent a clear message that he is the bride, without necessarily, announcing it himself? It looks like there's a tug of war between some stakeholders on the PDP side and others on the ADC side. Everybody's trying to give him a sweet deal ahead of 2027?
Well, good evening, Nigerians. I think we've always known that we have a beautiful bride in Peter Obi, but then he still has to navigate the bumpy road of our political games to be able to, galvanize a team like as I can see. There's ADC, there's PDP, there is all manner of people waiting for Peter Obi to come to their table, but it's not clear yet what we're yet to see. Even his followers, we still don't know where Peter Obi is going at this moment. Like we said, we follow him wherever he goes.
And give me a sense of, what Nigerians are thinking about this one. Because when you hear the likes of Professor Jerry Ghana, for instance, talk such glowingly about Peter Obi, about his political currency, about his chances in 2027 on the platform of the PDP. You see what's happening on the ADC side. We understand that there are some concessions that have been agreed upon. Don't you think this is, as you look at the upside, but then you look at the downside, this conflicting choices that might be tricky to decide?
It depends on what you mean tricky. Peter Obi is on top of his game. I think if there's any politician to be, raising his shoulder high today, is Peter Obi. His transparency in the way he does his things and his previous records are totally what is dictating for him. He is a beautiful bride that every man wants. So I pray for him. I hope he will take a wise decision this time.
Right. Give me your personal take on, there being a lot more options on the table. We see his running mate in the 2023 elections, Deti Baba Ahmed, potentially kickstarting a reconciliation effort with the Abure-led faction of the Labour Party. In your view, is Labour Party still in the mix of options for Peter Obi to consider ahead of 2027?
It is very difficult to speak for Peter Obi at this moment, but I can tell you that I sense a rainbow coalition here, where everybody is playing a smart game to be able to be unnoticed. We have a big lion in the Aso Villa that is ready to go anywhere and destroy any plans that will form a threat to his superiority. So I'm not unaware of the carefulness of the opposition party to maintain secrecy in their dealings.
And you look at the base, for instance, is this going to have any sort of ripple effect that could be, say, for instance, polarizing? I mean, there are those of you, just as you said, that would follow Peter Obi wherever the destination is, especially if it leads to Aso Rock Villa, right? But then there are some who would say, listen, going back to PDP, for instance, is non-negotiable because PDP is a part of the problem. Or going to work with the coalition is non-negotiable because they have ABC individuals who we don't believe in. Do you think there's room for compromise for the obedience here? Or do they not count in terms of the decision?
Obedience in every political party. Obedience are already in ADC, Obedience are in Labour Party, Obedience are in APC. But the bottom line is that when it comes to presidency, all the obedience in all political parties are one family and having that same aspiration of the Asuvilla, because we believe that Peter Obi will perform better than any other aspirants that will come by.
Well, I thought you were going to say obedience are in APC, but I suppose there is one party.
Obedience are in APC. I can name them for you, a whole lot of them.
Right. I'm sure they wouldn't want you to blow their cover. But let's talk about...
I will tell you the obedience in APC.
Right.
I will tell you.
Right. Okay.
But they're there, of course. The difference is that they want things done the right way. So if tinubu will tomorrow start to do things the right way, the obedience will be quiet. But the obedience in APC still believe that Peter Obi would do better. So it's up to the players now to convince them. So for me, as an obedient, I'm watching the political game going on in Nigeria with all, manner of, I don't know how to explain it to you, but it's difficult to spill what I think here. I just feel that the Nigerian people must look the direction of INEC and the National Assembly, because that's where the whole thing will end. What if at the end of the day they rig the election? We have to make sure that nobody rigs our election. I've been telling obedience that we need to go back to the National Assembly and make sure that our results are transmitted immediately. If we don't achieve that, we are wasting our time.
And talk to me about what you make of the political atmosphere in the country right now, especially regarding the talks with the coalition, where we're hearing some preferential treatment for the likes of Peter Obi, for instance, Malam Nasser El-Rufai, who are still with the Labour Party, for instance. The interim chairman of the African Democratic Congress, and David Mark, a couple of days ago, says, listen, we're not going to tolerate any anti-party activities. But the caveat is that people like Peter Obi, people like Nasser El-Rufai, for instance, still have some unfinished business in their political parties. Do you think this leaves room for a lot more grounded, strategy to take place before a decision is made?
I really think that some of them have unfinished business with their parties, so they are taking their time to detach themselves. As you know, there are some local elections in some states. But for us, the obedience and Nigerians, all we are looking for is those that will sit together and form an unbiased group that will give us the new Nigeria of our dreams. We cannot argue about wanting a new Nigeria. All of us, everyone sees the condition of the country today, but at the same time, we still want a peaceful Nigeria. So we advise the politicians, as you go about aligning yourself, remember that the peace of Nigeria is first. We are already seeing people changing names of people in the streets and trying to, incite tribal hate. These are the things that upset me about our politics. They become so dirty when they should be bringing us together. I think the Nigerian security apparatus must gear up their destiny and make sure the effect arrests where necessary. We wouldn't want what happened in 2023 to repeat itself.
Right. And talk to me as an obedient yourself, unapologetic one for that matter. What kind of conversation are you having with people on the other side of the aisle, especially people who are going to be your partners in the 2027 race, at least for the time being? People in the coalition, people in the PDP, are you trying to get their buy-in? Are you trying to sell them Peter Obi? And what is the reading? I mean, I suppose you're trying to sell them the Peter Obi candidature, right? But what is their feelers? Because we also understand that there are a couple of people whose ambition is public knowledge ahead of 2027. So give me a sense of the kind of conversation you're having with some of your political allies on the other side.
I think it's too early to speak about what conversations we are having, knowing the political nature of Nigeria. The game is on Peter Obi's table. And we believe and trust that Peter Obi will not negotiate anything that will mar his success. So we are leaving the decision entirely for Peter Obi to see which group is viable. But of course, we are hoping that if the ADC will do the right thing of giving the best candidates, then we will not have to argue about PDP or whatever. In fact, I must say it clearly that the best bet we have is ADC giving P2B the ticket without any political games, playing out.
Right. I mean, PDP is leaning towards the zoning of its presidential flag bearer coming from the south. ADC, not so much at this point in time. Are you saying that, do you hope that the ADC will be very clear about this, or would you want an open contest as anticipated by many?
Well, for me, I would say that there's no point wasting money and time. They know the best candidate and they know who the Nigerian people are clamoring for. And I think I would advise them that it's important that His Excellency Atiku Abubakar comes out here as a role model. I think Atiku Abubakar is only stumbling block from my own perspective, though. But I strongly feel that they will trash out their differences with time.
Some have said, especially people on the APC side of the argument and some other political analysts, that listen, if we end up with a major three-horse race in 2027, there's a very good chance that 2023 might repeat itself. Peter Obi going against Tinubu, maybe a great chance. I mean, give me your own reading of what you hope the field will look like in 2027.
2027 will be interesting. It will be the Nigerian people versus the politicians. And Nigerian people, from what I'm hearing, instead of Nigerians dying, lining up to collect food, we'd rather die at the polling units. We will not allow anybody to rig our elections again. Never.
I mean, this is the second time you're mentioning in this conversation rigging the election. There's a lot of concern there with INEC, I suppose, because the running mate of Peter Obi has doubled down every other time when he's given a public interview about what happened in 2023. Some people on the ADC side have also been quite vocal about the credibility or integrity of the electoral umpire INEC going into the general elections.
In 2023, we saw people being maimed. We saw people being beaten up because of their ethnic nationality. We saw, talks running away with ballot boxes. This time around, we are going to be in our polling units in numbers. We're going to watch. We are all going to be lions because there's nobody to fight for us. INEC must do the right thing this time because you might end up seeing people mobbing you on the streets. We are not going to sit down and allow people truncate our results again. If the international community and everyone that is concerned should pay attention, the sufferings of Nigerians, especially the youths, it's not what anybody can bear any longer. And we urge the politicians to please allow fair play for the interest of the nation.
And you see what's happening on the ADC flank with some of its recent appointments. The leadership of the party, albeit not necessarily at the very top of the top, is looking quite young with some of these selections that they've made recently, given some young Nigerians in their early 30s, some very critical positions to spearhead the party. Does that inspire, and is that one of the reasons why you would prefer Peter Obi to be the candidate of the ADC in 2027?
I'm happy so far with the appointments because that signals the terms at which my Peter Obi wants to operate. he has always maintained that younger folks should come into power, people with the energy and the zeal. So I see ADC touring, moving towards that direction. But it's still important that we see them do the right thing. I don't want to speculate, and I don't want to speak for Peter Obi at this moment because I am yet to get a clear picture of what his mindset is. But I'm sure that serious discussions are ongoing across board.
All right. Obedience General, as always, a pleasure. Honorable Ikenna Azomchine, thank you so much for sparing the time. Appreciate you very much for the analysis. Thank you so much for joining us on
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. And that is our show for you tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow live at 8 p.m. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for your time and good night.